What is up, party people? I'm Scott. This is From the Grave Podcast, episode 115. This was a fun episode. We had the production table involved. We talk about being thieves and hoodlums and stealing to support bad habits. We talk about Vedic meditation. We talk about being a beginning meditator and how to take this practice into your life and some of the hurdles and what the definition of meditation is. Then we talk about the danger of wants and needs and desires and all of Paul's supplements. And then also we get into the rapture of sitting in this deep-seated, wonderful place of cosmic consciousness or the kingdom of heaven and its passive nature of bringing that out into the world. Fear and anxiety and sitting with painful feelings. This is a pretty good synopsis of what FTG is all about, period. Don't forget that we have an email now, which is fromthegravepodcast@gmail.com. If you have suggestions for guests to be on the show, send us the suggestions, where we can follow these guys, get in touch with them, etc. Also, send us a voice memo where you're talking about a certain thing that you want talked about, a question or topic, or you just want to tell us a funny story and have us rip off of it, whatever. We want to hear you. We want to play you on the episode. And if you haven't yet, like this damn video and then subscribe right here, I think. Right here. And we're going to have some fun with it. I think that's all the cleanup stuff, right? Is that good? All right. Thanks for listening. Peace.
What's the eternal principle?
Brahman.
Which is?
Well, we call it God, but that personifies it.
So one of my buddies I used to work with, right, he has a little bit of a gambling problem. And we would be in sales, and sometimes during lunch we would go to the casino and fucking play a little blackjack, lose all our money, and then go back to sales and try to make it back on the phones. You remember that life, right, Drew?
I've been there, my brother. Coconut Critique.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that place is the worst. So I've never been a gambling guy, but anyways, like you get around that environment and you kind of, take part. Anyways, I had a gnarly dream the other night that I went over to his house or he came into my room and he had fucking, like I went to shake his hand and he just held his hands out like this and he had two prosthetic hands. He got both of his hands chopped off because of a debt he didn't pay. It was the freakiest dream that it really fucking freaked me out, man.
That's when you thought someone was in your house?
No, that was the night before. And then last night I woke up and I thought somebody was in my home. Yeah. That shit's scary, man. My car got robbed. A Glock got stolen out of my car here when I was first moving in. And
Why'd you leave the car open?
Yeah, well, when I was moving in, I never leave my car unlocked. But when I was moving in, I think I was just grabbing shit in and out of the car, and I had left it open.
For like how long of a period of time?
I don't know. It was overnight.
Oh.
Yeah, so
you got to look at your part in these situations.
No,
Scott.
I know I fucked up, and you know what? And I respect it because it was a come up for them. So it was probably the homing in over there, which is like a really seedy place.
I've stayed there.
Have you?
Yeah, one time our halfway house got bed bugs. We all had to stay there. They put us up in the homing in. Isn't that great?
So they're just threatening your life, putting you back in the madness. But yeah, they had to come up, and I guess I talked to my neighbor, and I was like, hey, do you guys have like any issues here? I was just moving in, and he's like, yeah, it's not uncommon. My car gets robbed like once a year, and I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, well, I leave it unlocked, and it was kind of like a shitty little van. So he just like, yeah, they take a lot of change. I'm like, dude, they fucking took my charger and my fucking Blender's $40 sunglasses and a Glock. Come on.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. You ever done any like robberies in the past? Any like we used to rip CD decks out of cars.
Robberies? Oh, yeah, I got a funny theft story.
Okay.
So we used to steal big screen TVs from Walmart.
No shit.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
So we would get a cart. We would go. I don't know if I should tell this story.
Tell it. You're already.
Are we past the statute of limitations?
We're fine, man. We're living.
It's 7 years ago, right?
You'll be fine.
It's 7 years?
Yeah, nobody knows who you are.
I'm on camera.
Yeah, but you look a lot different.
All right, so what we used to do was we would go and get a cart, go to the back of the electronics department, get the TV.
On the shelf.
We would get the TV, put it in the cart, cruise around like, oh, we're looking for whatever.
You'd have a couple hoodlums with you,
usually one other person.
One other person, okay.
Yeah, like for a lookout. And we would bring like a box cutter, and we would just make little slits in the box, just enough to get the security device off of it. Because it has, the security device, it's like with the wire around the TV, and then it has like that circular box in the middle like that, so it has the thing that triggers the alarm in it. They take that off when you pay for it, So we would take that off.
Is this on the inside of the box?
No, it's on the outside.
It's on the outside.
Imagine the box, and it has a wrap around it with the little security thing on it, like a tag on a clothing. Yeah. So we'd find a part of the store that had like no cameras, like a hidden spot, and then one would look out for staff while the other one would get the device off, and then we'd just walk out of the store with the TV. And nobody would say anything because who's going to steal a TV just in broad daylight, just walking out with it?
And what'd you do, just go to the pawn shop?
No, we traded it, right? A straight trade for drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. That's some balls.
Yeah, and then we got caught, but it was like an after the fact thing. Like they got some part of it on camera, found out who we were, and then brought us to court, but I got off, luckily.
Did you? How many times have you done that?
Well, I did that at least like 8 or 9 times.
For real?
Yeah. What about you, Paul? You got any?
How much would you get? Like a bundle for that? Like a couple?
No,
bunnies?
a couple. Figure if it was like a $500-$600 TV, we were getting like at least $200-$300 worth of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got something. I can see it.
No, mine is lame and pedestrian. But
pedestrian.
When I was in college, we used to get to go to Vegas every year for the WCC tournament.
What's that?
The West Coast Conference basketball tournament. It was like if the winner of that tournament goes to the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. And so I figured out at the tender age of 18 that if you sit in a casino and look like you're gambling, they'll bring you free drinks as long as you're sitting there looking like you're gambling. And every year I got a different glass from a different casino and took it home. That was 12 to 14 years ago now. That's the closest thing I've ever... I mean, stealing's never been my thing. I'm obsessed with getting like caught in a lie or caught stealing.
This guy?
I have a very, very boring life, and my drug addiction was very, very boring. It consisted of going down to the hospital pharmacy, getting my drugs of choice that I had on call whenever I wanted, taking too much of them. Yeah, like cuffs from casinos.
Do you still have them?
Probably not. I mean, I know one of them made its way into my parents'
Liquor
cabinet.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my parents don't drink, so it's just like literally with all the other glasses, just the one mismatched glass in there. But yeah, my drug and alcohol addiction was pretty pedestrian, pretty boring.
I'm not making fun of you. I just thought it was a funny like.
It is. You should make fun of me.
No,
it's stupid.
We're making fun of you.
It's something old men do. It's not cool. But
you're an old soul.
When I got high or got drunk, I would watch movies and fall asleep. That was my, I never went out and did anything unless I was already at a bar, and then I would just be slightly louder.
I feel like you're a There Will Be Blood guy.
150%.
Yeah.
That to me, that's
and
one of
he's
the
a scary alcoholic in that movie.
But that's the thing is that like
what's his name again? That actor?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
I had the forethought to never put myself in a position where I was going to be like arguing with anyone or like with anyone that I really don't like. Because I'm unlike him. I like people for the most part. He has that famous line like, I hate people. I want no one else to succeed, whatever else. But it's like, I think people are great. But if there was a situation where I was with someone I didn't like, nope out of there as quickly as possible because I knew it was going to be bad because I've never been in like a physical fight outside of like organized fights in like martial arts club in high school and stuff.
No shit.
But like, I like to think that I can destroy people with my words, and I have lost a couple friends doing that when people have like taken things too far. I'm just like, all right, well, I'm going to let all my negative thoughts about you and probably anyone even remotely related to you out on you right now. And, you know, our relationship's probably going to be over after that unless, you know, you find it in your heart to forgive me after I say some pretty messed up stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah. Just
Angry person as a youngster.
just dying on the inside, taking it out on your friends.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm a bit disappointed with the state of your refrigerator. I mean, I opened it up and all there was a block of a block of beef in there. The only thing in there, dude. No water, no beverages. Literally just beef.
Bachelor, dog. You know what really gets it's the Uber Eats, man. See, like I'll buy all this stuff, keep the sugar out of my house, and then I'll suffer under the weight of laziness, which is the business
Oh,
model
didn't
of
what's
Uber
his face
Eats.
just post about that? People will be craving food and stuff all day because they're not eating enough protein or getting enough water,
Dude,
minerals, or salt, and then like they hold off all day, and then at night they just
That's my thing.
they
man.
just poison themselves. Because it starts at the grocery store. He says.
I don't hold off all day though. Normally, I don't. You ever do the bulletproof coffee?
Yeah.
Butter and MCT oil.
Yeah.
I've been doing two Keurig cups of coffee and like 2 tablespoons of butter every morning. So I start off with the fat for energy, eggs, and then usually some bacon. And I'll still like, dude, that's heavy. That's like
And a little Leonard's Dinner on the side.
and a little Leonard Zinner.
Okay.
Dude, you want to hear some crazy fucking stories? So this dude, one of the clients that came into the treatment center, right? This guy he'd been to like 30 treatment centers, older guy. I walked in his room one day and he was making like a concoction for the day, right? And he had the Stoke cold brew that you can buy at the grocery store. So he was filling that up, plus a hot cup of coffee made, no dose tablets, and then he would drop 6 Zins in there. No. Dude, I was so taken back.
There's no way he drank that.
Dude, he drank it right in front of me. And then I had to go tell someone about the no-dose thing. I'm like, this is probably like a thing. And I'm like, no wonder this guy's been to 35 treatment centers.
Buddy, you might as well just go get an 8-ball.
Yeah, just go blow some fucking Coke and drink, man. Like, I've nenever heard of dropping Zins in water. I'll throw a couple fucking lip pillows in, but I never just like that's like wetting the bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking that shit. Yeah, that shit's crazy. See, and now I value like even these Zins, man. Like sometimes they get me too fucking. It's too stimulating, right? So like for me, it's interesting how like. I don't really value stimulation as much as I used to. Like in the beginning when you're getting sober, it's all like energy drinks and nicotine and smoking cigs and all that. I can't do energy drinks anymore. They get me irritable. I'll be angry for no reason.
I wish I could be on that plane.
Celsius gets me significantly irritable.
I'm hoping with my new electrolyte salt drink that you guys got me on. That'll maybe help.
Yeah, man. Fucking
Getting off the energy drinks.
Salt will change your life.
It will, but also like what Andrew just mentioned, which is, gonna take some effort, is in order for caffeine, in order for stuff like electrolyte drink or something like that to give you the energy that it purports to by all the experts who are telling us to do stuff like that, you have to go through the extremely uncomfortable 3 days of caffeine withdrawal. You have to get caffeine not to be a regular part of your diet. It sucks, but you have to do it.
How not regular are we talking here?
Less than 100 milligrams.
How much is in a cup of coffee? 80
milligrams. So less than 100 milligrams every day. Having caffeine after 10:30 a.m. is 100% out.
I thought it was noon.
Well, the half-life of
I'm gonna go with noon.
the half-life of caffeine in the human body is 6 hours. So
I can do noon. You know what helps me is not drinking coffee first thing when I get up. Like when I wake up.
90 minutes.
Yeah, 90 minutes. I usually don't make it 90 minutes because I'll wake up, slam water, and then I got like a 30-minute meditation. Then I'll make the coffee. So I'm probably at like 40, 50 minutes before I drink. Yeah.
Yeah, I did lemon and salt water this morning.
That sounds disgusting.
Yeah. No, it was good. Like,
Just get the Element packets, dude. I know they're expensive. They're like $2 a packet.
Scott.
Don't even say it. I'll out you.
I got it. I got them coming.
Okay.
Not the element packs, the different ones.
Those are fucking corny. What's even in those? Oh, Redmond salt.
No, dude, your boy is.
Let me get one. You got one with you?
He plugs them. Your boy plugs them. The doctor. Like he's got an affiliate deal with them.
Of course he does. But I'm pretty sure he plugs Element ones too.
I've never seen him plug those, but I've only just started following him. So Paul's over here taking his supplements.
We're just
show him your bag, Paul. There we go.
Like what is in there? Dude? Why can't you
All right, let's break it down. Paul's supplement corner.
Why can't you just take a multivitamin?
Because multivitamins don't account for the differing amounts of certain vitamins that people need, and there's tons of certain vitamins that you don't need and not enough of other vitamins that you do need. So in this, I have ubiquinol, which I take 200 milligrams twice a day. I have black seed oil, Nigella sativa, which is like an anti-inflammatory like herbal supplement. It's used a lot in India and the Middle East. I have arginine with citrulline, which usually I would just take an arginine and then have some watermelon, but this one combines the citrulline that would be in watermelon with the arginine that I would have taken otherwise. I have ginkgo biloba, lion's mane, ashwagandha, and then magnesium glycinate. Any time after 4 p.m. that I take magnesium, it's always glycinate because that helps you sleep a little bit more deeply.
Yeah.
But my experience with supplements is based on being part of this little anonymous internet community where it's basically people who are experts in different fields, like giving away knowledge for free. And one of the guys is a biohacker. He's a pharmacist who literally just tries supplements on himself, reads, umpteen supplement studies a day, and then researches how biochemistry affects, the human brain function, human body function, stuff like that. And this other guy is a former meth addict. He goes by Grimhood. His name's Daniel. And he basically, to hear him say it, he had a very positive experience curing himself of the symptoms of traumatic brain injury using things like magnesium megadoses and black seed oil and blue jasmine, I think it's called, blue something. And so I just read what they have to say. I make sure my diet's on point so I have like a good baseline. And then anything they have to potentially add to that, I'll think about putting in a supplement stack. I take one supplement for a week. If it seems to make a big difference, I'll add it to my stack. If it doesn't, then I will not purchase it again or not take it again. It's just kind of, an experimental thing to see if I can completely optimize the way my brain and body functions. It sounds stupid, but it's a fun hobby, and it's very, very cheap if you're buying supplements from the right dealers with the right stuff. I don't know. It's interesting. I've found a lot of good information, and seems like supplements that doctor that we all kind of like a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of them like him, which, to me adds credence to what they're saying. But just an interesting little way to supplement my existing diet.
Yeah. I used to be a slave to supplements. You remember that shit Hydroxycut? Mm-hmm. Damn. Dude. Remember Jack 3D?
Oh my. Can we talk about how that was one of the greatest supplements of all time? It's probably horrible for you, but it was like your workouts felt insane.
I got jacked.
Oh my gosh.
3D.
Yeah.
Like it was ridiculous. I don't even know what 1,3-diamethylene is, but it definitely shouldn't be legal. Yeah, so I think about that, man. There was always like, and I'm not saying this is you by any means, because I know that's all like vitamins and herbs and shit like that, which I love, and I think that there's a strong place to start to put like the right chemicals or the right supplements in you, especially if you've been treating your body like shit for multiple years. So like as I transition, right, like over the years, it was always like, spending money on this supplement or this powder or this creatine or, hydroxycut or trying to get here or trying to get there. And there was like this yearning to get somewhere. Like if I take this supplement and do this for 30 days and work out like this, then I'm going to achieve this result. And when I get this result, I'll be better. Like everything will be better than it is right now. And I lived under the weight of that for a long fucking time. And now it's only been like recently, and like probably like, I would say like the last several years of my life. Like I really don't, the only supplements I take are protein and creatine and then electrolytes. That's it. But anyways, like to get spiritually centered in it, it's like the one thing I should be supplementing in my life and giving myself completely to was spiritual practice. Like it was always something, it was just trying to get this quick result, see the result in my body, see the result in the life. And like, it's just endless fucking pain. It's just endless suffering. I don't want to get dramatic and say suffering, but it's just like you're in bondage. You're just like constantly in bondage to needing some type of result in your life. And I'll be damned if I haven't given up more things the longer I stay sober, just and not even in sobriety, but just in my journey moving through life now. And like the one practice of giving up in my life is meditation. So like I've been having these sits lately, and I wanted to talk a little bit about happiness today, but interestingly enough, I feel like I've been fucking angry as shit, dude, lately. But without meditation, who knows? What's up? Did you turn me up a little bit? All right. So anyway, I've been having these sits lately. Like you sit down, meditate. I practice Vedic meditation. You sit down, you get comfortable, and you drop into this place. And it has nothing to do with breath. The only thing that you're given once you're trained by a teacher, you're given this mantra, right? And mantra literally translates into mind vehicle. Now, you never speak this mantra. You never say this mantra. It's never on your lips. Once it's given to you, it's just this lullaby of an idea, and like you think the idea of it. And the mantra being a mind vehicle, it has a purpose, and the purpose is to take you somewhere. And it's to take you past the intellect, the ego, the superficial mind, and take you past thoughts and drop you off in this place that we all inherently have within us, which is, in the Vedic world philosophy, they would say bliss consciousness. Christianity, we would say kingdom of heaven. But at any rate, this mantra is designed to take you there. It's called a bija mantra. It has no meaning. It's not I am love, I am light, anything like that. It's just a poetic sound that is given to you, that it is designed to lullaby the mind, take it past grosser states of thought, and drop you into this place where I have no wants, desires, wishes, is everything is as it should be, man. And I've been having these sits lately where I sit down to meditate and I'm there and I'm just like where I need to be, where I'm coming out of the meditation and it's 30 minutes later and I can feel myself coming out, and I just have like this smirk or this smile where I'm chilling right where I should be. Everything is as it should be. There's no wants, there's no desires, there's not wanting this or needing that. It's just everything is dialed in as it should be right there in that moment. And I never had that in my life. I was always trying to run from that place. Can you turn me down a little bit? So it's like, okay, that's beautiful right there. And so it's like, why is meditation even beneficial, right? Like, it's like having wants, desires, and wishes aren't a bad thing in and of themselves. Like, they're not bad. But for me, if left unchecked, they can drive me blindly. So what meditation has done for me is it kind of checks all my wants and desires, and it regulates them, where I could be, thinking about something all day or wanting this or needing that. And then when I sit down into meditation and I come out of meditation, either I completely forget about that thing or it's just lost its power and it doesn't really seem that important anymore. And I never really gave time to myself to rest in that power, And nothing could be more beneficial than spending time with the creative power of the universe. Nothing could be more beneficial than, whether it's prayer, whether it's meditation, whether it's writing to God or whatever. Like, if you don't have that type of cornerstone in your life, I'll speak for myself. If I don't have that type of cornerstone of spiritual practice in my life, I'm never going to experience the foundation that I want moving through life. I want foundation, but if I don't interweave prayer, meditation, self-examination, I'm not going to have an unshakable foundation for life. And I was always shakeable. I was always shook up. It was the easiest thing. I was overly sensitive. I was at the mercy of a stranger, right? Like, someone said something I didn't like or some type of criticism, it was just over, and it would drive me and I wouldn't be able to forget about it. So what spiritual practice does for me, and spending time in that power, is keeping me rooted in some foundation that, number one, I didn't realize was in me, and number two, it was completely accessible. So Emmett Fox has this quote, and he says, if you don't have any time for meditation and prayer, you'll have plenty of time for sickness and trouble. And really, like, it sounds threatening, right? But in my experience, that's been the case. And it really just means, if I'm moving through life void of spiritual practice, and I'm not able to have these meditations where I sit down and fall into the fullness of myself, where everything's just okay and I'm unshakable, I'm going to move through the day, and the other side of that is to be shooken up. So you take a day where I'm not praying, I'm not meditating, there's no self-examination, I'm not talking to my support. You give me one day like that, and then you take those days, you sprinkle it out through the week, throw a month on top of that, times it with a couple years, and you wonder why you're batshit crazy, right? Like, spiritual practice has been the only thing that has revolutionized my life, and I just kind of fell into it. So if you don't have any time for meditation and prayer, you may have a lot of time for trouble. It may just be the case. What you got there?
I just wanted to chime in as a beginning meditator, because maybe some people who are listening might not be. When I hear you talk about meditation, I think like it's beyond what I'm capable of as someone who's never done it. And it was always something that was hard for me, but you gave me some tips, and they helped. Could definitely relate to the being angry and then like meditating and it like helping fix that.
Yeah.
Like even with like just doing it for a couple of days, which is like huge. But yeah, I downloaded the Calm app and I committed to just doing it. I started this little thing and it's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes. That's it. Like I have to start small. It's 10 minutes. I do it first thing when I wake up.
Is it a guided meditation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it is hard. It's hard. It's not. Yeah, it's like to shut the mind off. One is like hard, but that's why I like doing it in the morning because like you're not like ticking that much. But like the longer I'm awake, like I start ticking. Like while I'm in the meditation, you know. And yeah, like what you talked about, like like learning how to like navigate that stuff. It's very hard. I even find it hard to like get comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to ask you, like,
how are you sitting? What's
that's
your
the thing. I
posture?
want to ask you, how do you sit?
Are you
Because like I
sitting?
think like that's so important. Like I couldn't even figure out how to fucking sit.
Are you doing
know?
like the cross leg lotus position?
No, I'm sitting. I was sitting in I did tried sitting on the floor today. I could not for the life of me get comfortable.
Yeah.
I for the first 10 days or whatever, I sat in my desk chair as like straight up. You know, they say to keep your spine straight and all that stuff. So I was trying to keep my spine as straight as possible and like keep my feet like almost off the floor. So like,
Yeah.
But even then, I had a hard time getting comfortable. So what's your tips for that?
So the ultimate authoritative definition of meditation is a profound sense of deep healing rest. Okay. So we're about maximum comfort. There's contemplative meditation, concentrative meditation, all this stuff. Vedic meditation or transcendental meditation is its own thing, right? For a beginner, we're about maximum comfort, okay?
I feel like I'm gonna need to lay down. I don't know.
I mean, you can, but just do this, right? You sit in whatever chair is most comfortable. I'll hit that. I'll sit on my couch. You can have your feet up. You want to have your back supported. The only thing, we don't want to rest our head back. So the only thing that needs to be free flowing is like the shoulders up or the neck up.
So if your spine isn't completely straight, like you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Not a thing. I mean, we can get into, if someone listening be like, chakras, energy, and the energy flowing up your spine into your Shakti, and okay, yeah, I get all that.
Well, yeah, but my issue was that like
there are certain types of meditation for that.
Yeah, I was just always focusing on my body wasn't comfortable. So
Exactly.
how can I get past that if my body's not comfortable?
We want maximum rest, and so it's a profound sense of rest. We're trying to rest because you mentioned the ticking, right? Like I can watch myself start ticking as I'm meditating. Beautiful.
I start thinking about everything that's going to happen in the day, all that stuff.
Yeah. So what you want to do is let those thoughts come and watch them and watch the tick start happening and go, isn't this interesting, man? My mind wants to get involved in it right now. Like it wants to fucking run. Yeah. Right? Because I'll sit down and be like, oh shit, I got to do this, and this. And I'll have the desire to go do it. Right. But at any rate, you can literally watch your mind fill up with thoughts. So It's like people say, meditation is hard, and you mentioned it's hard to shut the mind off. We don't want to do that. You're never going to shut the mind off ever, unless you become some zealot or mystical saint, reincarnated. I don't know. That may be the case, but like we should never have the goal to shut the mind off.
Yeah. I don't know where I got that from because
it's common. It's a common narrative.
But that was never mentioned in the 10 guided sessions that I've done. Like they never said that. I guess that's my own perception of it.
Yeah. And
like
then
meditating means shutting the mind off, but yeah.
And then you can start in the Calm app and set a timer for like 5 minutes, and you'll hear a little bell, a little ding, right? And that's how I started meditating. When I was in sales, I would go outside and just sit down and just breathe and just let the mind be the mind. People think like, listen, we're very attracted to guided meditation in the beginning because it's so difficult or scary to just sit with the thoughts and the mind's going brrr.
Okay, so you recommend I try the timer thing?
Yeah, try both.
Yeah. I mean, I got to the point now where I'm just like what the guy's like talking about is like, yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like fucking okay. But the first couple were helpful because like, it talked about like the home base, which I guess is kind of like the mantra or no?
What do you mean the home base?
So he explains the home base as like a place to come back to if you feel like your thoughts are going all over the place. Like you're like, use your breath, fucking 101, right? Like focus on your breath and let those thoughts pass.
So this is about
coming back somewhere when your mind is
Right,
going
so-
elsewhere. That's the what he's saying. The home base is.
So when you do that, this is a bicep curl for the mind, okay? In that moment, when you come back to whether it's breath, whether it's counting to 5, whether it's your mantra, you are choosing to step back in this seated self, your being, and not become that thought. So even with the intention, even with the ability to go, oh, I'm lost in thought, let me go back to the number, that's the whole deal.
Right.
Because most people will move through life, as I did, not even realizing that we can step back and go, whoa, I'm caught up in thinking.
What do you come back to?
A mantra.
Okay, so you have your own mind vehicle, your own word.
Well,
or whatever.
that's the thing. So you sit there and you invite this mantra in, you just think the idea of it, and then I'll go thought, and I'll be like, oh shit, okay. Back to the mantra.
Does your mantra change?
No.
It's the same thing every time.
Yes.
Are you allowed to share it?
Absolutely not. That's a stupid question. But no.
You've had a stupid question? I don't know. I'm a beginner meditator,
I'm
dude.
just giving you shit.
Man,
But
that's rude, dude.
As you move along, you'll get an extension and advanced technique and all this stuff. But anyways, let's just use. So my thing is like guys I work with that are interested in Vedic meditation, which it does cost money to get trained and go do it. They'll go, oh, I want to do it, but I can't, go pay for it. Blah blah blah. Oh, how are you gonna pay money for something that's just all this bullshit, right? Okay, fine. So Vedic meditation is working on sound technology. It's working on vibration, right? You can do this with numbers. You can do this with the word 1. For instance, if my mantra is I am love, or my mantra is pencil, all I'm going to be fucking thinking about is a pencil, right? So the sound vibration, which is what the mantra is, that's the important thing about it. Vibration carries itself where it's supposed to go. We want the mind to be attracted to a beautiful vibration rather than the sound of our thoughts. That's the whole goal. So I used to always think that this vibration shit was hella corny. I was like, oh my God, vibration, love vibration. People like change your vibration. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. It's all that there is. It's all that there is. It's all vibration. So thoughts have their own vibratory nature. And then we have this rooted seat of self within us. Now, there's many negative things in my life that can affect my vibration and give me low frequency. Shame, everything has its own frequency. Shame has its own vibration. Guilt has its own vibration. Anger has its own vibration. Then we move up into courage, acceptance, bliss, and all these things, right? All we want to do is offer ourselves to some other type of great practice. And that's all meditation is. It's an innocent process. It's passive. Like we don't go in and try to meditate. We show up. We're not interested in the result. We sit down, we meditate. And then the beautiful thing about that is you get saturated in that state. You spend time every day in that state, in the morning, late afternoon, and night. And it's money in the bank. You're dropping money in the bank. It's never getting taken away from you. So as you're putting money in the bank, you're moving through the world as a richer individual. It's just in your portfolio now. So the more it's a beautiful passive process because you don't even realize it's fucking happening. Like you just start to take this new person into the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How do I find my mantra?
Well,
Do they have them at Target? But
yeah, it wasn't. I kind of wish you didn't say that, but you should. People want to do, and I'll say, and listen.
That was a dad joke.
And listen, here it is, right? You can have the most profound people. Oh, I want to do meditation, and then I'll say this. Okay, wake up in the morning, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then keep doing that for 10, 15 minutes every morning and it'll change your life. And they'll go, no way, I can't do it. I got a guided meditation. And we go, okay, don't fucking do it then. Because all you're doing is giving the mind an opportunity to not not get caught up in thought. That's all it is. But people don't want it to be that simple. They don't want to sit down for 20 minutes and go 1, 2, 3, because we go, oh, that's stupid. But that's really all that is necessary.
Well, it's also, in my opinion, it's also a practice that bleeds over into regular life in very concrete ways, in the sense that, like, when you are meditating, the practice of acknowledging a thought and then letting it pass is the same as practicing acceptance in your daily life. Like, acknowledging something happened and going on with your life. You know, so there's, like you said, there's a million different types of meditation, but the one where you literally practice noticing thoughts, negative thoughts, positive thoughts, and not having a visceral internal reaction to them in real time, that is a skill that not a lot of people have in their day-to-day life. And if you can practice that with your thoughts, the thing that you have literally no control over, like, have you ever thought, like, man, I want to kill this person? Like, even jokingly, like in traffic, like, oh, what a
Yeah.
you know, we have horrible thoughts. If you can practice having those thoughts and letting them pass and not judging yourself for having them, just acknowledging that they're there, think of what you can do when someone does something that insults your ego or makes you feel small. It might not be a one-to-one comparison, but it's going to be a little bit easier to move on with your life after something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
100%, man. And, you know, just the ability that's happened with me is, like, my mind is usually, like, loud first thing in the morning, and you can just start to watch your mind fill up. You can be, I'm getting like a little, like, hum. You hear that? I don't know where that came from.
I'll tell you what effect to put on your thing to make that go away.
Okay. It wasn't there from the beginning though, right?
Is it gone now?
No.
No.
It's still there?
Yeah. It's like a low little rumble. But,
It could be a mantra.
you know, vibration, man. You know, listen, I'm not a professional. Like, listen, I stumbled into meditation 3 years ago and I haven't looked back. When I got involved with it, I didn't think that I was going to be a guy that actually practiced this thing. Like, I had Matt Cardone on my podcast, and then I just picked up what he was I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. I'm like, I thought it was like the worst interview I ever gave in my life. Like, I still cringe when I think about it. But it was during quarantine, and I just was like, all right, let me give this a try. And I even called my sponsor at the time because I'm like, I don't want to be this guy that, like, wants to meditate and then shows up and spends his money and then doesn't do it. So I surprised myself. Like, I went and I knocked on the door. I stepped into it and it became a different experience, and I haven't looked back since. I'm not a professional. All the experience I got is basically in Vedic meditation. And I would suggest anybody to go straight there and find some type of teacher. I personally would love eventually to become a Vedic meditation teacher. But right now, keep it simple. And if you got to use the Calm app and spend 10 minutes by yourself and do some guided meditation, then so be it. If you want to spend 10, 15 minutes just sitting down and watching your thoughts be your thoughts, and so be it. All of it is going to be beneficial. Do we think it's going to be a huge issue, that noise?
In our group text, there's a little effect you can put on any track in GarageBand that'll take this away in seconds. So
Okay.
not a big deal.
All right, cool. What else has been going on, man?
Oh no, just on the meditation front. If you really are into trying new things and meditation seems daunting, I do have a suggestion. I've been reading this book called The Golden Key Method, and it's basically like how to
Emmett Fox.
I don't know who wrote it, but it's basically like how to brainwash yourself into being a more positive person with an abundance mindset and stuff like that. And they kind of talk about their own form of meditation. They're like, all right, in the morning when you get up, sit upright on your bed. Doesn't matter how comfortable it is. Doesn't matter what the temperature is. Doesn't matter what you're wearing. Sit upright on your bed with your eyes closed. Be alert and just stay there for 15 minutes. If you can do that, meditation, do that 5 days in a row. It's hard. I get it. It's hard. But like meditation is an excellent branch off of that simple practice of like, they say in the book, like that it's about learning that you have control over, your comfort level in a given situation. But like, it's a great precursor to meditation. And I tried it, and I couldn't do it for more than like 3 days in a row because I'm used to, like Andrew, guided meditations or being in a class for meditations. It was hard, but like now that I have done that a few times, going into an actual TM session is nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier because I have that practice being physically, maybe vulnerable or uncomfortable, not like emotionally, but like physically. It feels weird just sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it does. And most people are like, I can't meditate. My mind's too loud, and this is my meditation, and running is my meditation. It's like, okay, like I get that. Like, number one, if you can think, you can meditate. That's it. It's not about turning off the mind. You never will do that. It's just about stepping back and letting the mind be the mind. So when you're in your day and the mind starts getting really fucking loud, you can move through your day in a very potent situation or acute situation where tempers are flying high and watch your mind just be your mind and step back into yourself and have this bandwidth or this buffer to not react poorly. It just like gives space. It just opened up space within me that I did not know was there. And I don't think I'll ever stop meditating. To be honest with you, I mean, I remember I went home to New York to visit my family and all that, and my mom was like, I remember her saying to me, she's like, she's like, I think this has been the first trip home in years where it hasn't felt like you've wanted to leave. And usually when I get home, you're home, you're with your family, and I don't got any responsibilities. All my responsibilities are in Florida, so I just kind of put my feet up and I'll become a big nap guy, right? But I wasn't taking any naps. When you start meditating and you're stepping into this profound, deep sense of rest, you get moved into adaptive energy, right? It's adaptation. Your energy isn't getting burnt up by your thought life. You become much more efficient, much more effective. You're able to do multiple things without it weighing you down. This is what scripture says about casting your cares upon God. You're casting your cares elsewhere because you're not walking through the world with a heavy burden of stress, right? So people will say like, oh, running is my meditation, walking is my meditation, working out is my meditation. And we understand like where we're going with that. But if meditation is a profound, deep healing rest, then that's obviously not meditation, right? That may be flow state. You may get into completely dialed into the moment, and all that stuff is great where all the worries and the cares of the world go away, but that's not meditation. It'd be like if I was like, still doing CrossFit and someone was like, yeah, I got my CrossFit working this morning on my walk. And I'd be like, yeah, okay. Like, it's just not the same thing. And that's okay that it's not the same thing. Just, don't get it twisted. Anyways, give meditation a try. Give it a try. If you want to do Vedic meditation, hit up my teacher, Matt Cardone, on Instagram. I think it's Matt Cardone Meditation. Or you can go to his website, Matt Cardone Meditation. And hopefully someday I'll be able to teach it, because I love it. Yeah, man. I don't fucking know, dude. I always think that like, I always feel like I'm talking about all these fucking just like pretty spiritual things, and I'm just like not saying much. You know what I mean? I just feel like I'm like oh, and a great clean wind of the mountaintop blew through and through, and I was swept up into the heavens, and yeah, don't think with your mind, and da 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 da. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not really saying much, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, I don't give a shit because I feel like I don't want it to make sense, because the things that I'm talking about or that I've been through, they don't really make sense. The feeling that I went through while going through this confusion, that's what makes sense, if that makes sense. You know?
Yeah, I don't think it has to make sense, but I think there's a lot of valuable stuff in there for people if they are interested in getting started in the process or want to know more about like what it really is and what it can really do for you.
Yeah.
That's where I think the value is.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you know what? You know, David Hawkins has this quote, and he says, if you're confused, there's still hope for you. If you're confused, there's hope for you. I never want to go around thinking that I got shit figured out. Like, I don't. Needing an answer for your life is so much. There's so much pain in that.
There's value in just doing, you know, regardless of whether you know the rationale behind it or whether you're prepared, or, you know, just do things. Do the thing.
Like, I've been working on, like, my mind will get loud for no reason. It will just be like, it was loud as hell today. It was like, you know, is there something you're not doing? Like, are you really as happy as you could be, and free, and all this shit? And it's just like, the mind just wants to create some type of situation to say, right now isn't okay, and if you could do only this, then you would be better off. And it's like, where else do I got to be but right here, right now, just doing, as you said. And so, like, I get all these little things in my life where it's like, oh, I wish it was different. I wish it was different. And it's like, reality has fucking won, dude. Like, this isn't different right now. You got this thing in your life. Whether you got an anger problem or a fear problem or, you know, depression problem, like, reality has won. It's G-checking you. There's something in your life where there is something there. There is some type of treasure there, and it is already won. Wishing it away is only going to create more suffering. You can stand at the fucking wishing well and throw all the pennies in that bitch that you want. Guess what? You're in bondage to the wishing well. And we're like, yo, we're over here living life. You're like, nah, I gotta get this thing away. I got more coins to throw into the wishing well. And we're like, it don't work like that. Like, you got to get over here and start doing, you know? And if I'm not careful, I'll be the sorry son of a bitch sleeping next to a wishing well, just wishing that it's going to be better, you know? And you don't need a wishbone, you need a backbone. And I never wanted it to be in action, but action is the magic word. Like, wishing it could just be better, wishing it can be different, wishing it wasn't there and I didn't have to deal with it. That just creates nothing but pain and suffering for me. Wanting to run and hide from it, running and hide from it creates a life hidden from you and hidden from the world. And that's not where I want to be. I don't want to be hidden from the world. I've been hidden for way too long, but it's really scary and it's really vulnerable to stay out there in the middle of things and be working on yourself. Like, that stuff is really hard. And to circle back, like, the practice of meditation has given me the opportunity to start to work with that, because I'm making a decision to sit in sometimes the uncomfortability of thoughts. I'm just sitting down there and I'm being with the one thing that most people never want to face, themselves, you know? I never want to dive deep. I never want to pull up childhood shit and go to therapy and take inventory and figure out what my purpose and my mission is in life and really start purposefully with tact moving towards that stuff. I just want to fucking float through life like a leaf getting blown in the wind. And it's like, hey man, if you want the wind to be your guide, like, by all means, you know? But yeah, man, you know, I just, you know, there's just things in life that you can wish it was different all that you want, but at the end of the day, it's going to keep showing up until you face it, you know? And it's hard to be willing to be uncomfortable. You know, I think about, you know, there's been over the last several years, I've grown and grown and grown. But in seasons of pain where you just don't feel like you're growing, where you feel like you're regressing and this shit ain't clicking and I'm doing bad, no matter what, when I look at that, things have always gotten better. I've always grown more and more and more. Like, I'm not the same guy that I was a year ago. I can't do the things and live in the way and speak in the way that I used to speak a year ago. It's just old scales of us, the snake is shedding its skin. There are versions of us that are dying. We're going through rebirth. We're going through resurrection. And that process is really, really uncomfortable, but it's necessary. See, I always wanted just the burning bush to happen. I wanted God to burn into a bush and be Moses at the top of the mountain, and God speak to me through the bush, give me the 10 commandments, figure it all out, come down and fix my life. And it's like, fuck, I don't know. That shit has not happened yet. I always wanted the Red Seas to part and to just see, and God being like, here, this is the path right here, man. You just got to walk this. And it just hasn't been that way. In my life, it develops slowly over a period of time. And when I'm not okay with that educational variety, I will get beaten into a state of discontentment because I wish it was on my timetable. But it's not. Reality has won. When really the burning bush is in this slow burning fire just all the way through your life. And even in the moments where I was in so much pain, I thought I was regressing and I wasn't growing. Why is it in those moments where, you're losing your shit, you're talking to someone, this isn't going well, and then someone will say, this is where growth is. That's the most fucking annoying thing to hear when you're struggling. But it's true. And then I'm like, well, why is that true? And I think that for me, it's just because when you're in that state of pain and discomfort, and when we say pain, I'm just talking about discomfort, emotional discontentment, painful feelings, and just stuff like that. Just like, this shit is not going good right now. And the reason why there's growth in that moment is because we're sitting in that space. We're not resisting, we're not fleeing, and I'm learning how to navigate painful feelings and emotions, which I had never done in my life. If there was any type of painful feeling or emotion in my life, I drank and I drugged, period, end of fucking statement. And then it always made it worse. So it's like, hey, if you want to change your life and become this highest version of yourself, there's going to be some suffering that is part of the spiritual deal, and you're not going to be able to run away from that. You're going to have to sit and rest in that and see what comes up and start to move with it in a fluid manner. And that's not fucking easy to do, dude. Like, I always go back. I don't always, but the Red Seas aren't always going to part. God isn't going to burn a bush and always speak directly from you. And even if you did get that type of radical feeling or radical spiritual experience, you're going to have to fan that stuff out throughout the rest of your days. I'm not sure that you can just have a spiritual experience and then just float through the rest of your life and everything will just be happy, That sure as hell has not happened to me. So anyways, like, when you start to navigate these painful feelings and you're willing to sit in meditation and you're praying and you're writing and doing all these things, it becomes a passive process. Like, the same way we don't try and meditate and we just show up innocently for the practice and get saturated in this innocence and in this rest, the passive process is we take that out into the world. So when you devote yourself to a spiritual practice, you're carving yourself into a new person. And the beautiful nature of that is that passively, without even trying, without trying to be mindful and turning off your thoughts and all that stuff, you're taking a new person into the world. And that person is going to have a way better shot at creating the life that you truly want. You know, we were just talking before the show, and Drew was talking about, we were talking about where we want to take our career and what we want to do, and the podcast and photography and video and all this stuff. And he mentioned, he goes, you know, most people got it backwards, that you have to work on this inner man if you want the outer man to have value in life. Like, I have to create value within myself, become this valuable person, bring that person out into the world, and then as a byproduct of being a person of value, I'm going to bring value into my life, whatever that may look like. And then I got to be okay with what that value looks like. And I will be, because I have created it within me, you know. And you know, most people don't want that to be the fucking answer. Emmett Fox talks about, you cannot have, by spiritual law, you can't have anything out of life that is in your current state of consciousness. Like, you can't have one type of mind in a different type of environment. He says people can basically work their ass off, get rich quick, have all this money. But he says if your consciousness isn't in the state of having that type of wealth, it will always slip through your fingers. So then really, like, my number one goal in life is just creating this state of consciousness. Now, I've never really been a money motivated guy. Only recently has it like, it was like, damn, it would be nice if FTG could be completely monetized and I could be doing what I love and get paid for it. And then on my downtime, go on retreats or go to India for 3 months and study and become a Vedic meditation teacher and get paid while I was like, Dad, that would be fucking dope. But more so than trying to get there, what's important is bringing value to what's happening on the other side of the mic and what FTG has to offer, period, end of statement. Because otherwise, there's not going to be really much to give, and maybe the world won't nod back at it and say, hey, we value this, and then the money may never come. So staying in line with that value, staying in line with your purpose and what you want to bring into life, that's only going to come from if you get involved with that deep place on the inside. And that's what meditation brings you down into, is like, here's the thing, think about it this way. Once you start to rest in that blissful state, that cosmic consciousness within, so once you start to rest in that cosmic consciousness, and then you go out into the world, nature, the law of nature recognizes that. And then you start to bring this cosmic consciousness, energy, vibration back to yourself. So it begets, like begets like. So once you start to get saturated in the kingdom of heaven, in cosmic consciousness, you are naturally going to become this higher vibratory frequency person. And when you start to live at this higher frequency, you're going to achieve higher frequency from life. And I'm not trying to say I'm this higher frequency guy. If anything, I got way more experience with lower frequency shit than I do any type of blissful fucking state, man. That's for damn sure. But I'll be damned if I haven't fucking experienced it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be damned if I haven't had, well, I'll keep the real good spiritual experiences to me in my heart. But, you know, this shit is real. This shit is real. Make no mistake about it. This isn't no fucking play. Like, if anything, this is more real than the day you may move through and all its drama and opera and scenes and props and players. When I sit down to meditate, that's the realest fucking state I've ever been in my life, dude. I've been having meditations where I'm sitting down, I'm chilling, and I'm just, dude, it's so hard to explain, where you're just there. You're good. You're drifting. You can feel yourself nodding in and out. You know you're past some type of thought, and the only way that you realize that you're past these thoughts is you come back. You come back and you don't know where you went or what was going on, but you fucking went somewhere. And you sit there for 20, 30 minutes and you start to come out of it. And dude, I can feel the rest in my body. I can almost feel it take over my body and start to just dial down and rest. And dude, it is just like the most revitalizing thing in the world. And scripture says it this way. I believe Christ says, those who abide, I know I'm chopping this up, but like basically like those who dwell in me, from their belly will flow living waters. There's just something that's going to start moving you in a direction. Like man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. So energy doesn't just come from fucking beef and eggs and electrolyte packets. Like you get energy by living positively. Like when you're in that positive flow, in that positive state and meditating and praying, like you can't be shook. You can start, as the kids say, you become unfuckwithable. You can't be moved. And I was never able to walk through life that way. And I thought that you had to like create this character that can't be moved, but it wasn't that. It was the passive process of loving on yourself, loving on this part of you that you never looked at, never brought up, was never vulnerable with. And then you create this person that's unmovable by the world most times through the process of being vulnerable and just loving on yourself. And I never wanted that to be the answer. I still fucking don't. You know what I mean? Like, I struggle with anxiety, man. I'll get nervous for no reason. I'll have anxiety for no reason. And it's tough to be okay with. You know what I mean? And I was actually writing about this the other night. And when I get anxious, back of that is I'm not safe, right? I'm not safe. And so when I think about this is when anxiety comes up, it's like, okay, oh shit, I'm anxious, I'm nervous, whatever. I know that inherently this too shall pass. It's not a huge deal. But this kid inside of me, this inner child, when I went through these places in my life or these moments where I didn't feel safe, I think what's happening inside of me is the anxiety is there because I feel like I don't have anywhere to go, any place that's safe I can go, or any person that is safe that I can lean on to like kind of run to and like hold me down, you know? And I think that's probably like the tough part about anxiety is allowing it to be there, you know? And it's just being a human is fucking weird, man. You know what I mean? It is just weird. And that's just who I am right now, you know? That's just who I am right now in my life. And that has to be okay with me. And I have to be content with patient improvement because these are luxury problems. To have the ability to sit deep within yourself and notice anxiety or notice that your mind is saying, I'm sad and I'm lonely or whatever the case is, and have the ability to sit with that, notice that, and work through that or work with that. That's a beautiful thing, man. That's something I was never able to do in my life, you know? And that's where the real growth happens. And then you're able to sit in front of someone who has the same type of fear, has the same type of anxiety or depression, and it is insurmountable to them. It is threatening their life, maybe to the point where they're going out, they're drinking, they're drugging, whatever, they're destroying their life because they can't stand just being who they are sober. And you can sit across the table from them and say, that's okay, me too. You know, that's okay, me too. But here I am, you know, and we're doing okay. And that's all I ever, like, listen, if I'm 80% okay throughout my days and I'm 20% not okay, I'll take those fucking numbers. I'll take those numbers every single day. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening. If you haven't done so yet, or if you're just listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, check us out on YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and share it if you like it. Hit us up on Instagram. You can go to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. All the handles are at From the Grave Podcast. We got new merch coming out soon. And stay tuned, man. And then also remember, we got From the Grave Podcast email, fromthegravepodcast@gmail.com. Send in some voice memos, a funny story, a topic, something that you want discussed, a question. We'll play it. We'll play it during this recording, respond to it, and play it. And maybe we'll have a good time. We'll chop it up. So at any rate, guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate all the love and support. Peace. Oi.